Man, what are you doing to me?
What are you doing?
He's trying to lay on me. Waiting for the bus, and my son is attacking me. What are you doing, son? Hi. You want to lay down with me? Come lay down. I got you this right here. I put my backpack down so you can lay on it. Come sit down on the backpack. Come sit on the backpack. It's nice on the ground. It's nice and comfortable. I got the backpack right here. You won't get any grass on your back, nothing. Here, you want to come sit down with me? No, not sit down on me. Oh my God, son. I was comfortable until like 30 seconds ago, son. Please. What are you doing? Oh my God, son. People driving by are probably like, what the heck's going on? You got anything to say to the internet, Becca? No?
Need help.
What?
Need help. Need a place to live.
Yeah. That's all you got to say?
Son,
Can't get a place to live? Tell them, yeah, we just went to the housing right now. What'd they say?
can't help you.
Yeah, well, no. They said that, but they said that there's no funding.
Yes.
Oh, there's no funding. So, they tell us to go to these places. Oh, they'll help you get a place. And then we go, and then they say that there's no funding. It's like, well, why'd you tell us to go? Why'd you tell us to sign up? Complete waste of time.
Waste of time and makes me get hopes up and then I cry and it's not.
Yep. It's just so hard getting a house. And then even when you have income, they're like, oh, you gotta earn 2.5 times or 3 times the rent, which is a lot of money. And it's like, and then you have to have a certain credit score with some of these places or whatever. It's insanity. That's why there's so much homeless, though. It's not a drug problem. It's not even really an income problem. It's the price of housing and how hard it is to get housing. That's honestly what the problem is. The price of rent is like at least like 50% of income, if not more. And then they wonder why people can't get a place. A lot of people can't get a place.
And you're supposed to make 2.5 or 3 times the fucking rent.
I know.
How is a normal person going to make that much more than what they want?
Right. Yeah.
You have to have this great paying job that you get like $40 an hour.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Well, I mean, not for a regular person. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, honestly, yeah, you'd have to earn like $30 to $40 an hour for some of these places.
Or you have to have several families living together.
Right, and that's what happens. A lot of times people just bunch up and there's like several people in one place.
Several different families.
Yep.
That's how it was in Salt Lake in the apartments above us.
Yeah, right, the Samoan people. Yeah. Yeah, when we lived in Salt Lake, there was Samoan people above us, but there was, oh man, there had to be at least like 10 of them in that apartment.
Well, we had 2 apartments. So I think it was
Oh yeah, they had 2 apartments, but still, yeah, I think
like 5 in each apartment.
yeah, probably like 5, which is against the law. You're only allowed to have so many people per so many rooms, and there are only 2 bedrooms.
Well, there was several of them that 1 bedroom, and then there was 2 bedrooms.
Yeah, so there might have been a 1 and 2 bedroom or something, but yeah, that's how it's like, you have to stuff in there like a sardine, and everybody puts their income together, and it's like, oh, now we're able to afford it. And that's literally why there's so many homeless, because sometimes there's Samoan people are very family oriented, but there's some people, they don't have family to move in with. They don't have several other people to move in with. So they try to do it on their own, kind of like us. And it's like even with two people, it's like you have to earn so much money because they don't want you just to earn the rent. So say rent is say $1,200 a month. They don't want you to just earn $1,200. Oh, you got to earn 3 times the rent some places. So that's 3 times $1,200. That's what, $3,600 a month they want you to earn, huh? And then the new thing is, you call them and they're like, "Oh, you have to have a credit score of at least 700." That's the other new thing nowadays too. So yeah, so that's why there's so much homeless. People are like, "Oh, there's all these homeless." Yeah, it's not because of drugs, not whatever. It's because rent is too high, and the qualifications to get into a place are just too absurd. Yeah, it used to be, for anybody who's younger, who's watching this, it used to be like, say in the 80s, right? Where, let's say, there's a bus, but it's the wrong one. We want the 1, 2, 3, that was the one. So yeah, it used to be in the 80s, and before that, to where, let's just say you had $2,000 in your pocket or in your bank, whatever, right? You could go to like a little, someone who's renting a place, right? And they were like, "Okay, you got cash. As long as you pay first and last month's rent, you could get a place that day. No credit checks, no income requirements.
You had to know people. You had to have like 3 references.
You might have had a reference, but even that, if you had the cash and somebody needed a tenant, they would let you come live there in the 80s or whatever, or 70s or before that." Yeah, so say rent in 1980. Let's just say it was, I don't know, $500 a month. Just say, I don't know. And they're like, "Okay, so first month's rent is $500. Last month's rent is another $500. So $1,000. So yeah, you could really go in somewhere to a place that someone who needed a tenant. Say, "Here you go. Here's $1,000. First and last month's rent." You can move in. That's it. But nowadays, that doesn't do any good. You could have first and last month rent, or the new thing now is not first and last month's rent. It's what do they call that?
Security deposit.
It's security deposit. That's what they call it nowadays. So you pay like first month's rent, and then they want a security deposit. So say first month's rent is $1,200, and then they have a security deposit of however much, 500, 1,000, or whatever it is. And then if you have a pet, it's even more so. A pet deposit can be like we don't have a pet, but it's just saying, say you had a pet, be like $500 or whatever. Sometimes it's per month. They'd be like, "Oh, the first time fee is this much, and then you got to pay whatever, 30 or what, or 90 or
$45 a month.
45 a month for a pet," right? So yeah, it's all this stuff. And then, like I said, the other modern thing is sometimes, because we've called places and they're like, "Oh, okay, you got to have this income requirement," and then as well they're looking for good credit. And I was like, "Oh, well, how good a credit?" They're like, "Oh, well, at least like 700. I was like, "What?" So yeah, so for all those people wondering why there's so much homeless, that's why. It's just too hard. It's not even just the price either. It's all these income requirements. I mean, someone could drop $10,000 on us right now, and it would still. It's crazy to. Someone could give us $10,000, and it would still be hard to get into place because they're like, "Oh, well, you don't have income. Just because you have money, you don't have." They want to see income, and like I said, they want to see a credit score, and it's like, it's dumb. I could give you your first month's rent, I could give you your deposit, and that's not good enough. It's not good enough, and that's what people don't understand. It's like they want more than just money. It's not. It's the irony is it's not even just money. It's all these stupid credit things and income requirements. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's not how it was. In the 80s and before that, you could literally. And it's with the job too. I hate all the ridiculousness of trying to get a job too. When I got my first job in '98, I think. I worked at Del Taco. I had kind of 2 first jobs at the same time. I worked at a pizza place and I worked at Del Taco. But when I went to Del Taco, I literally walked in there for an interview, and she's like, "Okay, you're looking for a job?" She's like, "Well, I need somebody." She was like, "Well, when can you start?" I'm like, "Well, today." She's like, "Okay, well, let me go to the back, see if I have a shirt." The boss literally went into the back that day, grab me a shirt, and let me start working that day. That does not happen. That does not happen today. It's like you go through one interview, and then, oh no, you got to come back through another interview. I remember in modern times, like a couple years ago, I went to try to work at Taco Bell. And then I had an interview with one person. They're like, okay, come back. And then I had an interview in a panel of 3 people, like these high-level managers. It's like, this is for making burritos and tacos. It's insane. And so that's one thing I hate about modern days. It's so hard to get a job. It's so hard to get into a place. And that's also why people are homeless. Really, I mean, really, you go even back to the 90s, let alone the 80s and before that. You can literally walk up to a business, say there's like a sandwich shop, or like a little pizza joint, and you'd be like, hey, you guys looking for anybody? Yeah, we need somebody to, take trash out. Something simple. And you can literally start that day. Remember that? You can literally start that day. I think I had a couple of jobs in the 90s where I did that. Just walk in. Oh yeah, we're hiring. You want a job? We got a job. Boom. Here you go. Here's a t-shirt. Put it on. We'll get to work. And you just can't do that. And so you got to go through all this rigmarole to try to get a job. It's like, these small stupid places, McDonald's and Taco Bell, and freaking flipping burgers and making tacos, and they want you to have all these references nowadays and background checks. Some of them make you answer psychological questions. It's stupid. It's like, man, I'm just making hamburgers and dropping French fries. You want to know all my history and everything? It's like these companies, they take their businesses way too seriously. It's like, bro, man, I'm putting ketchup and mustard on a hamburger and putting fries in a basket in the fryer. It's like, seriously, what do you need to know? Here's my social security. Here's my ID. That's all you need. I'm a citizen. There's my information. What else do you need? It's just so anyway. So I don't know. I'm just kind of mad at modern day society. Ever since 9/11 happened, it wasn't just harder to, after that, it's, harder to get on a plane. It's harder to go over the border. I remember, I used to go down because I grew up in Southern California, be able to go down to Mexico, like Tijuana or whatever. No passport. Going in or coming back. There wasn't even a checkpoint. Going into Mexico, there wasn't even a checkpoint. You just drive right through. You come back. You got to wait through a little checkpoint, but you didn't have to have a passport or nothing. But nowadays, you got to have a passport to go into another country, Canada or Mexico. And you get on a plane and they want to take your shoes off, and your shampoo is too big and this and that. And you go on a job, freaking, like I said, McDonald's or Taco Bell, and they're like, oh, well, what kind of references do you have? Oh, references to make a freaking hamburger? Are you kidding me? And you go in, you say you have $5,000 in your account, and you go to a place to try to get an apartment or a house. The money ain't good enough. It's like, hey, I'll give you first and last month's rent or whatever, or first month's rent deposit. That's not good enough. It's like, oh, well, you have to have references to get a place and credit and all this income. It's like, it's just ridiculous. It's just, there's too much red tape to do anything anymore. And you can't even talk to a human being when you call, like, anywhere anymore. You try to call your bank or something like that, and you're just talking to an automated teller. I'm just, honestly, I miss the 90s and the 80s. Things were easier. For anyone who didn't live in that time, I swear to you, it was so much simpler to do anything. It's so difficult to get anything done. Like I said, to talk to anybody, you got a problem with a business, it's like you got something to return or something. You call up a business and they put you on, through an automated thing and put you on hold, and you go to another automated thing. It's just, everything is just so difficult in modern times, and I don't know. I hate it. I know I'm ranting, but I'm telling you, if for anyone who's watching this video who was, not just alive in the 90s and 80s, but you're old enough to like understand things if you bought a car, had a job or whatever, or any time before the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, whatever, life was simpler. Before 9/11, life was simpler. To get a job, that's when after 9/11 is when they started coming out with all the even to get a job, it's like, oh, you gotta you go through all of these background checks and all this kind of stuff. Even for the housing thing, they remember they made us sign the thing for the DHS. That's Department of Homeland Security. We're just trying to get a low income house, and the government has to have their thumb in it. They have to know your private information. Yeah, literally, we went to the thing for the housing, and they're like, oh, you got to sign this form for DHS. You didn't even realize. I realized. DHS, that's Department of Homeland Security. Why in the hell does DHS need to know about me getting an apartment? low income, regular apartment. But that's the thing. Ever since 9/11, the government, they used that, threat to national security, as a means to be all up in your business. And I'm telling you, anyone who's out there who's born like after 2000, or just before, and you kind of you didn't grow up in the 90s or 80s or before, I'm telling you, before 2000, literally life was so much simpler. Get a job, house, get on a plane, everything. I miss it. I miss it. As much as I like technology and looking up information and all that, and I like YouTube and all that. I mean, like I'm posting this video right now. I'm telling you, man, I really miss the simpler life back then. I really do. Anyhow, that's the end of Rant. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next video.